Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of The Bottom Line. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Syed, and we have another app-length episode ready for you guys today. As usual, we're going to kick things off with Syed's tech update, and we're also going to focus this week's episode on cryptocurrencies, which are seeing a tremendous sustained rally. We'll be focusing our discussion today on Solana, Chainlink, XRP, and other altcoins. And we're also going to talk about a couple other things that we see going on, more specifically Uber rides and Lyft rides, which are getting more expensive. So we're going to try to go in deeper and see what the reason for that is. And we're also going to talk about the UAE's interesting approach for kickstarting their economy in the post-COVID era. We're also going to end things off with our stock picks for the upcoming trading week. So again, lots to cover in this week's episode. With that being said, the floor is yours for the tech update.
Yeah. Thank you, Deepak, for the introduction. It is episode 30. We reached 30 episodes so far, so it's a great milestone for us. And as usual, let's get started and inform you guys of the latest in the technology and security world. So first, I wanted to talk about Vocus, which is New Zealand's third largest internet provider. They said that it responded to a cyber attack that temporarily triggered a widespread internet outage. And the company said that its systems blocked the denial of service, which is also known as a DDoS attack on one user. But in doing so, it caused some Vocus customers in the country's largest cities, Auckland, Wellington, Church Christ, to suffer outages. Vocus said the issue was resolved within 30 minutes. So for those of you, like our viewers are mostly in Canada or the US, so this is similar to say Rogers or Bell suffering a DDoS attack and you not having internet for like 30 minutes or something. I found this interesting. So it could happen anywhere, and this is why it's important to educate yourself about security, because sometimes you wonder, right, why where these attackers are gonna who these attackers are targeting, right? And internet service providers is a major target for these bad guys, quote unquote. So I thought I'd let our viewers know about that. Next, the FBI is warning of ransomware attacks targeting food and agriculture sector as White House pushes for proactive measures. So basically, the FBI sent out this notice warning companies in the food and agriculture sector to watch out for ransomware attacks aiming to disrupt supply chains. The FBI notes that ransomware groups are seeking to disrupt operations, cause financial loss, and negatively impact the food supply chain. And then the article also goes on about how the ransomware can impact business across sector, from small farms to large producers, processors, manufacturers, and markets and restaurants. And that cyber criminal, their actors exploit network vulnerabilities to exfiltrate the data and encrypt systems. In a sector that is increasingly reliant on smart technologies, industrial control systems, and internet-based automation systems. That's what the FBI basically said. This article goes in more detail about what the FBI had to say about this, but I thought I'd let our viewers know. And this article came out on September 3rd, so last week. And we're gonna stay with the White House here. So they basically said that, and this was on September 2nd. Now the long weekend's pretty much over. Today is September 6th, but they said on September 2nd that the White House is doubling down on warning about cyber attacks over the holidays. So the White House Deputy National Security Advisor Annie Neuberger on Thursday urged U.S. organizations to be on guard against the malicious digital activity ahead of the Labor Day holiday. And quote, she said, "We want to raise awareness, and this need for awareness is particularly for critical infrastructure owners and operators who operate critical servers for Americans." Although this is only for Americans, I'm pretty sure the Canadian government also knows about this, but the long weekends are a perfect time for cyber criminals to act, right? They can set up phishing campaigns, social engineering, and everything, right? And they can catch people off guard, because say if someone's on vacation during this time, right, they won't be as alert, right? And they can get phished easily or stuff like that. So I'm happy that the governments are actually taking note into this and telling people that this is a time where cyber attacks usually increase, right? And for companies and people to be more vigilant and more aware of what's going on. and not to click on anything. And on that note, so yeah, an interesting read and also a good awareness and educational article there. Next up, talk about Microsoft Exchange, and they have another bug that's called ProxyToken, and it allows email snooping. It's basically the bug CVE 2021-33766. It's basically an information disclosure issue that could reveal victims' personal information, sensitive company data, and more. And basically, the issue arises specifically in a feature called the delegated authentication, where the front end passes authentication requests directly to the back end, and these requests contain a security token cookie that identify them. So that's basically at a high level. And what has Microsoft done about it? Well, basically, it was reported as a zero-day initiative by researcher Lee Zwan Taguan of VPTINC, which is a company and a cybersecurity researching company, and it was patched by Microsoft in July. But it's basically a 0 day, and basically they're rolling out their patches. That's why companies should patch their Microsoft Exchange servers as soon as possible. We're sticking with Microsoft here, and for gamers out there, they may have just revealed Android app support for the Xbox. So essentially what happened is that a new Microsoft Store listing points to Xbox consoles getting Android app support, I should say. And the store is listing for the Windows subsystem. For Android specifically lists the Xbox One, and the Microsoft source has since says Android apps aren't coming to the Xbox, but this article basically hints otherwise, so we'll see what happens on the road. Now we're going to switch over to Apple. So they're exploring RISC-V, which is basically a type of processor, basically. So what happened is that, as you may or may not know, Apple switched its PCs to ARM-based processors, right? Last year. So all their new Macs are ARM-based now instead of Intel-based, right? But the company isn't putting all the eggs into one basket, as it's also exploring the emerging open source RISC-V architecture. And this week, the company posted a job alert for this high performance, for RISC-V high performance programmer. And Apple is currently looking for an experienced programmer with detailed knowledge of this architecture, and basically it's making questions, basically, because known for its secrecy, right? Apple's listing doesn't disclose what exactly it plans to do with this architecture, but the job description indicates that the programmer will have to work with machine learning, computational vision, and natural language processing. So maybe they're it's interesting because they switched from Intel to ARM, and now they're also looking into this open source architecture. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're thinking ahead and they want to leverage this open source platform for something bigger and better in the future. So it's Apple, so that's why I found this interesting, and I thought I'd let our viewers know. And then to end off my tech update, and I'll talk more about this in our crypto segment, but OpenSea, which is an NFT platform, they announced that they in August they earned more than 3.4 billion as their NFT sales they hit all-time highs, basically, as they recorded over $3.4 billion in transactions across 1.67 million NFTs. So we'll talk more about this in our next segment, but that wraps up the tech update for episode 30.
All right, perfect. So thanks so much for that tech update, Syed. Before we move on to our main segment, which is based on the cryptocurrency market that's seeing a massive rise over the last few weeks, I wanted to actually briefly jump into a few other things that are noteworthy to me. The first of which is coming from this article on CNBC, which we'll provide in the link in the description. It's titled, "Uber and Lyft rides are more expensive than ever because of a driver shortage." So if you're someone who actually has been taking Uber and Lyft, you've probably noticed the prices for a single ride have gone up almost astronomically since the start of the pandemic, right? So this article really tries to explore what that is. The cost of a ride from a ride-sharing app like Uber and Lyft increased 92% between January 2018 and July 2021. Many riders also noticed increased wait times for rides. The main reason behind both, it appears, is a shortage of drivers. So in early July 2021, so about 2 months ago now, Uber and Lyft drivers were about 40% below normal capacity. So the companies have taken notice and are investing millions worth of bonuses and base rates to convince drivers to return. But to turn things around, these ride-sharing companies might need to do even more to convince them. Because if you think about it, there's so much stimulus that's been in the market for the last little while that continues to come, really. It hasn't even halted yet. And I think a lot of small businesses are also facing labor shortages, because if you're getting a check for $2,000 a month, let's say, hypothetically, if you're being paid a minimum wage salary, is the trade-off really worth it? And for a lot of individuals, it might not be the case, right? So that's sort of funneling into our economy where, like I just mentioned, small businesses, restaurants, retail, they're facing the brunt of it, and then these ride-sharing programs as well, right? So Uber's website actually displays that drivers make anywhere between $22 per hour in cities like Orlando to $37 an hour in cities like New York. Lyft has a long list of incentives and bonuses for drivers, but like for those who are still relying on ride-sharing platforms to make a living, the companies are still not offering enough compared to the cost of living, right? So if you look at it, the driver shortage really calls into question whether the whole ride-sharing business model altogether is sustainable. Uber especially has been known for not being able to show sustained profits, and has instead been showing staggering losses compared with most other publicly traded companies. For example, Uber actually lost $6.77 billion last year and $8.51 billion in 2019, which was the last full year actually before the pandemic even started. Lyft, as a comparison, lost $1.75 billion last year and $2.6 billion in 2019, although last quarter was profitable for the first time on an adjusted EBITDA basis, which ignores costs like stock-based compensation and taxes, amongst others. So really, like you're seeing, there's two aspects of it. First of all, we always question whether the business model that Uber was operating on was actually sustainable, and that was being reflected in its stock price. Granted, it had a little bit of a rally with the rest of the broad market increasing, but it was always questionable how sustainable those models were. And really, the pandemic threw a wrench in it, because even though they were trimming their losses for a period of time, first of all, ride sharing wasn't even going on in the start of the pandemic because everyone was locked down. And now that things have opened up again, people are looking to travel, but there's the minimum pay grade just aren't willing to come into work right now. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword that they're facing. And it'll be interesting to see like what the future of these companies is, because eventually you're going to have to turn this into a profitable company, right? You can't have losses running into indefinitely for any of these businesses, right? So it'll be interesting how much they'll actually have to turn up the compensation to bring drivers back in. What effect that's going to have on their bottom line? And again, if that's an increased cost, like what's the ultimate price going to be for a consumer in order for them to actually be profitable, right? So these are a multitude of factors that we have to take into consideration, and it'll go back into our inflation concerns, right? We talk about inflation being transitory, but if something like this, you see an underlying problem, I don't necessarily think it's transitory, right? There's something more deep rooted here, and it'll be interesting to see how that trickles into other aspects of our economy. So just something that interesting that caught my eye, and I thought I'd share that with our viewers.
Yeah, to add on to that, I think the pandemic has obviously a major role to play in this, because obviously like you don't want like people sitting in your own car, right, without knowing like if they're fully immune to this virus or not. And I wonder if Uber or like these ride sharing companies are they would put like a mandatory vaccine policy where like if you want to like ride in an Uber or something, you have to show proof of vaccination. Because you see like the government's doing it, other companies doing it. So just for the safety of their drivers and for them to lure their previous employees, or not employees, but drivers back from pre-COVID, and like additional drivers as well. I think this is a step they might need to take. Just what I think, but
Yeah, yeah,
that's it.
yeah. No, like I think that's interesting, but it's also going to sort of isolate them from another segment of the market because, like in the States, they don't have the vaccination rates that we do here in Canada. I think they're still at around 50%. So if they mandate the vaccine, that's about 50% of the total addressable market that they've sort of like removed from their total pool, right? So again, like I don't think it's an easy decision for them to make for sure either way. So it's definitely a situation that we want to keep monitoring as well.
Yep, for sure.
Perfect. So like I also wanted to briefly mention another article that's on CNBC, and that's regarding the UAE's decision to announce 50 initiatives to boost their economy following this COVID-19 pandemic. But businesses are still awaiting more details, so they're still finalizing that. They've just announced that there's more initiatives to come. So just to, again, summarize this article, the UAE has launched a series of programs to stimulate and diversify its economy, seeking to attract some $150 billion in new foreign investment in the coming decade. So again, being cognizant of the fact that Dubai has not even Dubai, the entire UAE actually has thrived based on foreign investment over the past decade or so, right? So you can see how far along we've come, and they're continuing to try to attract big money. But yeah, so 50 new projects and initiatives will be announced in the coming weeks. Emirati officials said to coincide with the country's 50th anniversary, including new visas to attract residents and skilled workers. So, and I quote, the UAE's drive for the next 50 years is to become a global player across different industries. The region is what we've been targeting for the past 5 decades. Now we're moving on to ensure that a lot of our sectors are competitive on a global level. So the country aims to invest more heavily in advanced industry sectors and technology education. Newly introduced changes include visa schemes like the Green Visa, which is meant to expand self-residency status for skilled individuals and investors, and the Freelancers Visa, which will enable the self-employed to sponsor themselves. The country has already introduced the 10-year Golden Visa, which granted selectivity to the highly skilled and select residents and investors. Visas are a core pillar of the UAE economy, as nearly 90% of its population of over 10 million are from foreign or from abroad, right? Traditionally, without a job, they actually lose their visa. But this was a reason behind nearly 10% of the country's population leaving over the first year of the coronavirus pandemic. So a lot of people there, again, have come on visas. If they expire because they don't have a job due to the pandemic, they have to go back, right? So that's what they're really summarizing here in this article. That's had a negative effect on their economy. But really what they're trying to do now is to introduce more flexible visas so that if you're in a skilled trade or you have certain background in terms of your education, you have a longer runway to find a job in order to maintain your visa or become a permanent resident, right? And this is different from like working in Europe, let's say, for example, where it's very difficult to actually renew your visa or stay there on a long-term basis, becoming a permanent resident. They want to make the UAE in general more favorable for someone leaving their country to come in and, again, contribute to their economy, right? So this is just one of them. There's a lot more incentives that they're going to come up with, and that's going to be released over the next few weeks. So we'll definitely share that as we get more information. But they're trying to make it more employee friendly so that everyone kind of gravitates towards Dubai and the UAE specifically. I think what they're trying to do is position it as another technology hub, right? And you can see what's going on in California as a tech hub of the States. I think that's where they envision things headed in the UAE. So it'll be interesting how they transition. Right now, previously they were known for, again, being like the king of oil, right? So I think as we transition into a world where we want to be more green, and oil might not necessarily have the future that we thought it would, especially with EVs and whatnot coming out, they're going to have to transition into something else. And I think where they're headed is the tech sector. So that's why they're trying to build that up, build the foundation, make that more of a hub. And obviously it's a great place to tour if you've been to somewhere like Dubai. Cost of living is obviously high, so they're trying to make it favorable for employees to want to come there. And again, just start and live their lives. So definitely we'll keep you guys posted on what exactly they're proposing. Right now, they haven't given the details. They just said that it's going to be released over the coming week. So we'll keep an eye on that and update you accordingly.
Yeah, I think the pandemic did have an impact on this, but overall, it's hard for, say, for example, like you compare it to Europe, right? But like, even if you compare it to North America, if like you immigrate there, it's really hard to get citizenship, even PR. I'm not too sure about PR, but it's really hard to get citizenship there. As if like Canada, US, I'm not too sure about Europe as a whole, but it's much easier to get a citizenship or even a PR in the UAE. You just have like a work permit and you still hold your native country's passport. You can't get their passport unless if you get a spouse there or something, like a local spouse there, or like marry someone from there. So those are stuff that's something like I think they might consider changing. I'm not too sure, but definitely we'll keep you guys updated and see, because they need to recover from the loss, right, of people and like get their economy back up. So yeah, definitely interesting.
All right, so moving on to our main segment of today, again, we wanted to address the cryptocurrency market. One thing that we've constantly been checking on previous episodes of the bottom line here is the market cap, which is critically important because we've got to realize the market cap of all the other altcoins are basically capped at Bitcoin's market cap, right? So we don't anticipate any of the other coins overtaking Bitcoin in terms of market cap in this cycle. That might change in future bull runs, but for this cycle, we don't anticipate any of these altcoins surpassing Bitcoin's market cap. So inherently, there's a wall on all of them. But again, if there's upward movement in Bitcoin, then you can suspect that, hey, the altcoins will have a sizable run up as well. And in terms of percentages, you might actually see larger gains. So again, like looking at the cryptocurrencies right now, we're focused here really on the top 10. And we can see over the last 7 days, you can notice Ethereum's run up by almost 20%, being up 18.83%, I believe, over the last week. XRP is another one, up 23.5%. Solana, which is just incredible, is up 43% over the last 7 days. And then we also have Polkadot here at almost 30% up. So again, these are the main altcoins that we've been talking about in previous episodes, and by market cap as well. These are some of the largest coins, and they're also some of the oldest altcoins. So you can rest assured knowing that they'll probably be around for the next cycle as well. But we really wanted to focus our discussion here. And I know, Syed, you have a lot to talk about the altcoins I just mentioned, so I won't step on your toes here. But we did want to focus on XRP, on Solana, and on Polkadot, Chainlink, those ones in particular, because they have seen a sizable run up. There's a little bit of FOMO, I think, in the markets right now, but for these altcoins, I think there's a lot of fundamental strength that's backing these upward price movements. So with that being said, I'll flip it to you and just wanted to pick your brain here on what you think's going on with these altcoins in particular.
Yeah, before I get into the altcoin section, I wanted to talk about Ethereum and its circulating supply here, and which could impact its price overall, because with Ethereum 2.0 coming in, and proof of stake, that's going to reduce the amount of circulating supply for Ethereum. So don't be surprised if the price goes up. Because if there's less supply and there's more demand, right? And there's more volume, then that means like the price is gonna go up. Just like as you see for Bitcoin, right? There's such a there's a low supply here, right? So that being said, like right now Ethereum supply is like 117 million. So with like this number, I expect to decrease as Ethereum 2.0 and proof of stake comes along in the near future, I should say. With that being said, though, let's get straight into it and talk about crypto and the world of crypto. Before getting into the main topics of crypto, I just wanted to tell our viewers that, and this just came out like today, so Monday, September 6th, 2021, about like 2 hours ago, but the global crypto exchange Crosstower, it's entering India despite policy uncertainty. So we talked about this before, as crypto has a hard ban in India, right? But this exchange is looking to expand into India, basically. So I found this interesting, so thought I would talk about that real quick. Once again, article will be in the description below, but this exchange, I found this really interesting, and we'll see how the market reacts to this. But let's talk about XRP. So XRP has been up has been up, as you saw in the screen share a few seconds ago, as Deepak mentioned. And basically, what's happening is that with XRP is the lawsuit, basically, right? And its fundamental side. So the Ripple versus SEC case in the U.S. And basically, just to recap, those of you that don't know, the case alleges Ripple to have sold XRP as an unlicensed security for years, with the founding team pocketing billions of dollars as a result. But it's progressed favorably for Ripple in the past few months, and there are 2 dates in October, and I believe this month too, and I'll let you know those 2 dates for sure. But those 2 dates are very important for Ripple, as the lawsuit is set to be finalized in the next upcoming month or so, in the next few weeks, actually, I should say. So those 2 dates are really important, and once again, I'll make a post about that on our social media to let our viewers know, because that could be the point where XRP could, once the lawsuit is cleared, then they can basically live up to their fundamentals and what they offer. So yeah,
it's one of the few coins that isn't at all-time highs now, right? Because
exactly.
Of that lawsuit.
Exactly. Yeah. Its all-time high was back in 2018, actually, but because of this lawsuit, it's kind of it's kind of a roadblock, I guess you can say. But like you said, there is FOMO right now, and I think that's the reason why it's up right now. But once this lawsuit clears, even like if all other coins are doing bad at that time in the future, I believe Ripple will react strongly to the lawsuit result if it goes in their favor, of course. And as it seems right now, it is going in their favor. So once again, the fundamentals in Ripple are there. The XRP project is really good, and without going into too much detail of how XRP works, which we can explain in the future if our viewers are interested, but the fundamentals are there, solid use case. So with that being said, once this clears and it goes in their favor, Ripple, the potential is really high. Another altcoin, Chainlink. So apart from XRP, which I just talked about, Chainlink led the big gains today in the morning. So Monday morning, Labor Day, the token rose over 11% to $33, and becoming the 13th largest cryptocurrency by a market cap of 14.9 billion. So you can always look at the charts, as it reached a price level last seen in May 2021 and March 2021 before that. So the token saw a price rejection both times as it reached these levels, meaning that the trend to remain in place, it should continue to surge and close above $37. And as such, the token has long to go before reaching its all-time high of $53. But back to the fundamentals, though, why is it doing so good? Obviously, it's a bull market and all that, but we've talked about Chainlink briefly. But essentially, what it is it links the crypto blockchain and the outside world together at a very high level. That's what it does, and the Link token powers the Chainlink decentralized Oracle network, one that is increasingly seeing adoption across both DeFi and traditional finance projects. Just last week, Chainlink saw price feeds go live on the Optimism, Ethereum, and Solana, while institutional developments outside Switzerland saw easier investment access for institutions to Chainlink. So again, use cases are there, potential is there. Right now, there might be a little bit of FOMO, people just buying in and stuff. But if you just look at the bare fundamentals of that, and obviously the technical analysis, which is obviously not my expertise, but if you just merge those two things together and do your due diligence when researching about Chainlink, whether if you should invest in it or not, these are some of the things that you should consider. And there's definitely a use case for Chainlink. And if you guys want to learn more about Chainlink, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll make a exclusive episode just on Chainlink, and we can talk about that. And then obviously you saw Doge and all those coins going up too, and that's definitely part of the meme stuff. As always, it's still there. Shiba Inus of the world, Doge. Not sure how Safemoon's doing, to be honest. I think it's extinct now, but I could be wrong. But Safemoon fans, if you're invested, let us know down in the comments below if it's still alive, if you made gains, if you've lost your money. Not too sure. And once again, this is not financial advice. This is for educational or entertainment purposes only. thought I'd make that clear. And then we also have Solana as well. And I know, Deepak, you wanted to talk about Solana too. I know that we were talking the other day, and you were asking me about Solana, and we mentioned this before, right? So Solana has Solana is it's a really great project, because it's basically going to be the Ethereum killer, and that's what they're calling. And I totally agree with that, because its blockchain is just as efficient but faster than Ethereum, and then obviously you don't have to deal with the gas prices and all that. And then also Solana also has an NFT. Like you can build NFTs on there. So OpenSea, I know I mentioned OpenSea, and like their huge earnings, right? Based off NFTs in the tech update. But the reason I mentioned that was because OpenSea is based on Ethereum right now, and you still have to pay those high gas prices. Now in Solana, it's not as easy to set up NFTs as of now. You have to use something called APIs, which I won't get into too much in detail because I gotta look into myself how to do it. But essentially, you have to set up APIs and then deploy your NFT from there onto the Solana blockchain. So it's not as user-friendly as you can say, but it's still there. And as they make progress, and more people get into the NFT hype on the Solana blockchain, don't be surprised if Solana rises even more. And then obviously the transactions per second, we mentioned this before in the previous episode, I believe it was 28 or 29 when we talked about transactions per second, and how Solana just is on top of transactions per second, right? Even faster than Ripple. I believe it was like 10,000 times faster than Bitcoin, 4,000 times faster than Ethereum, 35 times faster than Ripple, and I believe faster than Visa too. I believe, from what I remember. But those are just some of the reasons why it's going up. And once again, like there is like a lot of like FOMO right now in the market, and that's why maybe it's going up. But like fundamental wise, again, I always look at the fundamentals of the project. It's the lights are really bright at the end of the tunnel, I guess you can say, and you don't know when the tunnel ends, because they still got a long way to go, and it's all looking positive in my book. So that's what I wanted to pretty much cover. And just one more thing actually I wanted to cover, and this came out again today, but Coinbase is to use Polygon's Ethereum scaling solution to reduce prices reduce prices. So again, back to the gas prices and Ethereum's scaling problem, right? Because they have so many such high gas prices, and Coinbase relies on Ethereum blockchain, right? So essentially, like Polygon Matic, we talked about that before. That token on the Ethereum network is set to scale Ethereum and like make gas prices less. So what's happening is basically an engineering team at the US cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase plans to integrate Polygon's layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum with the exchange platform. This move basically marks a first for Coinbase protocol team, which will attempt to reduce high prices and long settlement times, according to a press release on Tuesday. So this was last week Tuesday. So 6 days ago. And integrating with Coinbase will allow exchange users to withdraw directly on a supported L2 solution. And an exact date for the L2 integration has not been made public yet, but the Coinbase protocol team is an experienced group of engineers aiming to contribute to the scaling of blockchains and community building. And the team focuses on integrating various technologies with Coinbase products, and basically the aim is to help level the playing field while ensuring retail users don't get priced out of being able to participate in this budding ecosystem, right? According to the release. Because right now the gas prices and fees are insane. Like I prefer Coinbase Pro, but even on there the fees are kind of like they're high, but like normal Coinbase they're extremely high. But like this will certainly help to improve the Coinbase user experience, said Polygon's co-founder Sandeep Nilval. And basically last month, Polygon merged with the roll-up platform Hermes Network in a $250 million deal, making it the first complete merger of one blockchain network into another. So we're talking about Polygon Matic too, and that's definitely another token. Again, it's an ERC20 token, which is on the Ethereum network, but it's definitely a project that has a very bright future. And I guess the future is now, as you can say, right? For it. So yeah, I wanted to close out with that. But Deepak, I know if you wanted to add on something, like if you had any thoughts on Solana or anything, feel free to add on.
Yeah, no, I think you did a good job of covering everything here. Like again, Solana is just so much faster. Transaction fees are lower. I think that's like one of the main things that everyone's looking at from a fundamental standpoint, right? And I think what I'll leave off this segment with is the fact that when the fundamentals are strong, the price action will follow. So when you're looking at investing, if you're a long-term investor, don't necessarily worry about what the price is doing on a day-to-day, especially with a volatile market like the crypto market is. Just be comfortable knowing that the fundamentals are there, and if the fundamentals are there, then you're going to enjoy profits in the long run, hopefully, right? So I'll just end off the segment with that. We can go at length about all of these projects.
We'll talk about this again, definitely in the future as crypto isn't going anywhere. But hope our viewers found this interesting and they learned something from here. And we'll definitely talk more about this. And if there's any other coin our viewers, so you guys want to learn about or for us to talk about, or like even like stock market, for example, any stock or like anything in the stock market you want us to talk about, cover in depth, we can do that for you. Of course, for educational purposes, only and entertainment purposes. Like we're not going to tell you to invest in Safemoon or Dogecoin. Don't worry,
right?
But you could if you want to, but we don't tell you to do that. We'll move on now to our stock picks now.
All right, so that's a perfect transition actually, because we're going to talk about our stock picks next. My stock pick for the upcoming trading week is actually Riot Blockchain. So again, it's a Bitcoin miner. One of the most popular ones actually, because its 52-week high, as you can see below, is almost $80. So we did see quite a significant pullback. It's now $34. But again, with the crypto market heating up, I think I wanted to just bring this back to everyone's attention. So again, last trading day was a little rough for Riot because they actually did have a share offering going on. And as people know, with share offerings, there's dilution, and that usually has a negative impact on stock price. But again, like looking at the chart here, side, if we can move to the 1 month chart first. We can see again, like it's down 8.99%, and then go to 6 months quickly.
Yes, sir.
Again, so 6 month chart down almost 12%, right? So I think what you're seeing from a technical standpoint is a little bit of a base here, with the price action sort of playing around that range of between $30 and $40 a share. As a swing trade, I'd say you want to watch this level. So again, you want it to at least hold 30 from a psychological standpoint. But if you do go in, again, set your own stop losses when you go in. But I suspect there will be a breakout soon, especially with Bitcoin starting to pick up steam. And obviously, this is a Bitcoin play here. So if you're unable to buy BTC directly, this is one of the ways you can get exposure to the crypto market. So definitely keep an eye out on this one.
Yeah, pro tip, it's on sale. Again, not financial advice, but it's on sale right now. So you should like look into it and see if you can get it on sale because as Deepak mentioned, it's at 80. The high is like at $80 almost, right? So right now it's trading at around $34. So with Bitcoin rising, this is for sure gonna go up too, as Deepak says. But moving on to my stock pick, and kind of talked about this in our previous segment when I talked about Polygon and Coinbase, right? How Coinbase is going to leverage Polygon Matic's network, blockchain network, right? So I think once that becomes official, you can see Coinbase stock going up because of that news. It'll make it more scalable. It'll make it more scalable and more cheap, and the fees, and then obviously the usability, right? So just to show our viewers the chart quickly, the 1 day it's up 3.83% today. Obviously markets are closed today, but we'll see how it does tomorrow. But let's just quickly look at the 5 day now. It was at 256, and then you see it rise to almost 280 here, right? So so at 280 it's pretty good. I think it can crack 300 if it once this news comes out. But yeah, as crypto continues to rise in a bull market, more and more users are gonna crypto investors are gonna come on and sign up for Coinbase, right? it's user friendly. So yeah, just keep an eye out on Coinbase. I know I've mentioned the Coinbase stock before, back when it came out in April, and like I mentioned it, I believe a few other episodes back too. But just a stock to keep in your long-term watch list, not just for like 1 week, but weeks ahead as well. All right, so that marks the end of episode 30. I myself, Syed, and my co-host Deepak would like to thank you for your continuous love and support, whether you stream the podcast or watch us on YouTube or follow us along on our social media journeys. We did reach a milestone here on YouTube, a little milestone, but still great for us, as we reached 100 subscribers on YouTube, slowly but surely. And we hope to continue this and provide you with great content as we continue to grow, and our content continues to help you and educate you. And yeah, pretty much that's just wanted to say a little thank you. And we were almost at 10k on 10k followers on TikTok as well, so looking forward to that milestone as well. And yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I myself, Syed, and my co-host Deepak would like to thank you once again, and we'll see you guys in episode 31 next week. Have a great week, y'all.